I would like to start the show with this ridiculousness about Ohio State buying a championship. And I really struggle with this nonsense. I don't understand this vitriol and this turning Ohio State into villains for using the transfer portal. Somebody explain to me what Ohio State did that's wrong here. Because you listen to guys like Paul Feinbaum. Why you listen to Feinbaum, I could not tell you. I am unsure as to why you listen to Paul Feinbaum. But let me show you this quote from, Mr. Voice of College Football, who says, I love Notre Dame's story because they're not playing for national championship with Ole Miss's running back and Alabama's defensive back. I mean, Notre Dame, have developed players. They've gone out and brought in players from Duke and other schools just like Indiana did, but ultimately they found a way to beat some good programs along the way. So wait, it's okay if you bring in a shitty quarterback like Riley Leonard, but if you bring in Caleb Downs, now all of a sudden it's a bad thing. So let me get this right. You're upset because Ohio State portaled better than everybody else, and you're upset because Ohio State took two of the best players in Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss and Caleb Downs from Alabama out of the SEC into the Big Ten. So old Baldy is upset about that because that's what this feels like to me. This is the system that is in place. Jake, what was Ohio State supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Nothing else. I mean, they were supposed to go into the portal. They were supposed to go out and try to get the best talent in the country. And I think it speaks volumes about the situation that those two guys were even available. And of course, everyone's going to go ahead and say, well, Monty, they're more available if you got $20 million to throw at them. But now everyone's got $20 million to throw at them. So it's not like Ohio State is just outspending everybody. It's not like, Notre Dame doesn't have the resources that Ohio State has. Obviously Notre Dame doesn't report their financial picture. So we don't know if they've got more or less or the same. But what I can tell you is it's Notre Dame. There's an expectation of winning national championships at your institution. I would expect you to go out and portal at a really high level. And NIL and money in relationship to the portal is what the sport is about now. I mean, if you want to be a top-end program, you better be using every cent of that $20 million allotment to go out and get the best players and build the best rosters. So to me, I would agree that this is one of the few times where, I feel like, Paul Feinbaum, an ESPN guy, an SEC guy, of course, very much is trying to slight the Big Ten for doing their job, right? I mean, because that's what this is, right? This is what Ryan Day and Marcus Freeman and every head coach in college football is supposed to be doing. And that's why I say when you look at the SEC, when you look at the Big Ten, this conversation about the success the Big Ten has had, I mean, it's not a secret as to why the Big Ten is doing well, is competing, and has been competing because they have money, they have resources, and they have a track record of success. So again, what were they supposed to do? Nothing different. They were supposed to do what they did, which is go out, use and leverage their money in the portal and get the best players. And by the way, I just want to point this out, Paul Feinbaum. If Ryan Day hadn't gone out and gotten Judkins and Caleb Downs and Will Howard, and he wasn't in the college football playoff, his ass would be home on his couch right now, and you'd have been saying he was a bum. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, you can't win for losing in college football right now. And I just continue to go down this path of Ohio State did it better than everybody else. And I don't know why that's so painful. For me, Notre Dame tried to get Will Howard. Will Howard didn't want to go to Notre Dame. We got beat. It's as simple as that. We are going to lose, in my opinion, to Ohio State because they have a better quarterback. The skill position, sure, does, as we talked about on the program yesterday, does Ohio State have better wide receivers? Exponentially better. Does Ohio State have a better offensive line? In my opinion, exponentially better. Do they have a better quarterback? That's not even a real question. Will Howard is significantly better than Riley Leonard at quarterbacking. And that's because not even the players. Why are we not talking about the fact that Chip Kelly gave up a head coaching gig to come and be the offensive coordinator in Columbus? They did it better. They did it bigger. They did it well. And we should be applauding Ohio State for doing it the right way.
Well, and I think part of that point is that Ohio State's been doing it at a really high level. And this is the point that I think, a lot of the newer, programs into their conferences don't want to hear, which is like, hey, Ohio State or Bama or like whoever you want to, any of the blue bloods in their conferences. Those programs have been doing it at a high level for a long time. So when you look at the case of Will Howard, let's say, Will Howard wanted to go to because Will Howard understands that Ohio State typically has a lethal wide receiver room, or really just a lethal skill position set on their roster. And that's going to allow him as a quarterback to develop and most likely improve his draft stock so he can be put in a good position in the NFL. And it's no slight against Notre Dame, but if you're Will Howard, Notre Dame wasn't going to be the best fit for what you needed to get done.
I agree.
And that's why I say I just don't understand why. And I get it with Paul. Paul is an SEC guy. He's paid to write articles like this. Like, I get it. I totally understand it from that standpoint. But if Paul Feinbaum in his heart truly believes that Ohio State has bought their way to a national championship, I just don't understand how you come to that conclusion.
And when I was looking at Ohio State's roster, did they do well in the portal? Absolutely. But how do you explain Seth McLaughlin? Remington Award, you ran his ass out of Tuscaloosa, right? Remember the snap and this guy sucks. And turns out he doesn't suck. Turns out he's doing just fine at Ohio State when he's healthy.
But everybody said he sucked and Ohio State took the flyer on him. And by the way, just want to point out, dude's hurt again. Dude's not even under center anymore. So stop talking to me about how, all these guys that they paid for are just perfectly healthy and everything's amazing in Ohio State country. And that's, and listen, I also have to say, I'm not even an Ohio State fan.
No, that's the best part.
And that's the thing about the last couple of weeks, doing the show is like, obviously we've done a lot of Ohio State, content and conversations, but it's because of this narrative around this program. And I feel like this is what we do to programs who win a lot. This is what we do to Texas.
This is what we did to Alabama.
This is what we did to Alabama, right? Like, this is what we do to first team all SRT in Georgia, right? Like, this is what we do.
But on the other side of that, isn't this why we all hate the SEC? Or isn't this what feeds the narrative? Hey, because I don't personally hate the SEC, but this is what pisses me off about the SEC. It's just assumed that Caleb Downs would never want to leave Alabama or the SEC. Well, I got news for you. The Big Ten, as much as I think the SEC is still a better, deeper football conference, the Big Ten is a really good place to go and play if you're at one of the elite programs. And there is no other elite program in that league than Ohio State. And as a Notre Dame fan, yes, I am jealous that Caleb Downs is at the shoe. Yes, I am jealous that Will Howard is the quarterback at Ohio State and not at Notre Dame. Yeah. Yes, I wish Quinshon Judkins was at Notre Dame, but they're not. And the bottom line is Ohio State ran the system better than anybody else, and I applaud them for that. I wish that and I understand why we hate the behemoths, right? I think to your point, that's what this is.
And I think that right there is exactly what is just riddled in the Paul Feinbaum quote.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul is basically trying to make this point. Oh, well, I love Notre Dame's story because, they're doing it with their guys, not with old Mrs. running back in Alabama.
Because they took guys from Duke.
Like, so let me get this right, Paul. Let me get this right. I just want to make sure I have this straight in my head. So you're saying you love Notre Dame's story, even though they did exactly what Ohio State did. Do I have that right?
We just didn't hit it the way that Ohio State did.
Like,
it as simple as that.
Right. But the mechanics of it are still the same. Hey, we need a quarterback because, perfect beard and flow is going to the NFL. And we liked what we saw at Riley Leonard. So now we went and got him.
And I think Schuler is just as good as Caleb Downs. I think they're very close.
Yeah.
The quarterback, and I'll say this every day, and I know you're probably pissed off and tired of hearing me say it. Teams win championships with quarterbacks. There are very few outliers, and everybody always points to Trent Dilfer.
Or lose them with their quarterback.
Donovan McNabb. I'm sorry. I'm a jerk.
Bro.
I don't even know.
It just comes out, you know?
I don't even know
It's
if
like a
Tanner's
natural
here yet.
reflex.
But you look at my Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Why don't we have Super Bowls?
Yeah.
Well, because we don't have a net. Do you guys understand? The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer ever, not once.
Well, 4,000-yard passer, let alone a franchise quarterback, a guy that anchors the offense.
Ever, not once.
Yeah.
Not once. And you look at, everybody says, well, hey, Monty, what about Jimmy McMahon? I love Jim McMahon. I almost wet myself when we had hot dogs with him in Scottsdale. I was literally fanboying over Jim. It was unbelievable. Anyway, point is, Jim McMahon was a really solid quarterback. He was not a franchise quarterback. That team won with defense and a quarterback who had big play wide receivers, and he threw fly balls, and Willie Galt and Dennis McKinnon caught him.
Yeah.
You have to have Will Howard. If it was just Judkins and his name went right, the kid that went to Syracuse that you love so much, Kyle McCord. Does this team win with Kyle McCord? No, it does not.
Oh, well, Monty, he went off at Syracuse.
Well, Monty.
The difference is Syracuse isn't the shoe.
That's exactly right. And Syracuse isn't playing the same schedule that Ohio State. Do they damn near beat Oregon twice in one season? No. This team doesn't do it with Caleb Downs and Quinshon Judkins. They don't do it without Will Howard. And we're going to lose to Ohio State on Monday because Will Howard plays at Ohio State and not Notre Dame. So
I just feel like it's the easy button for guys like Paul Feinbaum to hit this narrative. I feel like it's and again, I just want to keep pointing this out. Like, not really a Big Ten fan. I hate Michigan. I'm not a fan of that brand. Like, I'm not a big SEC guy. I'm just a fan of good college football games. And that could be like, I loved the Miami-Louisville game earlier this year. I was all about that game. I was, doing stuff around the house, watching that game while I was doing it. Just an incredible football game. But like, I don't know why this time of year, it's almost like guys like Paul Feinbaum or, the Joel Klatz of the world or the Cowherds have to look at these teams and be like, what can we criticize them for today? How can I get out of bed today and find a headline about Ohio State that disparages them? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you mean Deion Sanders or Ohio State?
But it was all the Deion Sanders hate.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we do. That's what we do. When people utilize a system that you put in place and they utilize it better than you. I don't know. I think Will Howard's one of the great stories. I might as well just fillet the guy, but we've talked about this. I think he's having a historically good season. Is he Dwayne Haskins? No, but I don't think anybody will ever be Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, and I think you got to give a lot of credit to Ryan Day. Ryan Day's having a hell of a season. And again,
bro,
I'm
going to cut you off because you can't lose the Michigan game, Ryan Day.
Yeah, but
you can't lose to Michigan.
It is.
We needed you to beat Michigan. Everybody in college football needed you to beat Michigan. And then you lose to Michigan. You were the hero we deserved. But it turns out not the one we needed. We needed you to beat Michigan. It's probably backwards.
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
The jury's out on Ryan Day. I'm not going to sit here and spin. I don't think Ryan Day, I always joke and call him the Lloyd Carr. Have you seen Lloyd Carr and Ryan Day in the same room? Because I have not.
If any Ohio State fan, and I understand it's Michigan, this dude, since that game, has ripped off one of the best runs in college football history.
Nobody has ever had this path to a national championship. Granted, 12-team playoff, totally get it. You beat Tennessee, and I still think Tennessee's defense is
top notch.
What's the proper adjective? You ended Oregon.
Eviscerated.
You ended Oregon. Right? I mean, you look at the way that they beat Texas. They haven't done it in one style. They've done it in multiple different styles. They've beat 3 of the best teams in the country. You have a quarterback in Will Howard that some Ohio State fans want to blame. Like, this has been a historic run through the playoff. Will Howard has had a historically good season. I would say top 5 quarterback seasons ever at Ohio State. Maybe better than that.
I think it's number 2 behind Dwayne Haskins.
It's
I understand that Stroud had a great run. I understand, but like
I think it's Haskins, Stroud, and then Will Howard. But I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm probably not.
But just 2 cents on that. Just something to think about. C.J. Stroud didn't have to deal with the things that Will Howard had to deal with here, right?
No, I would agree with that.
Like I think if you're just looking at numbers, yeah, C.J.'s season's better, sure. But I'm talking about like total picture. If you consider yes the number, yes the numbers, but also the narratives, the expectations, Will's path leaving K-State to go to Ohio State. Like I have it number 2 all the time at Ohio State. But again, either way, it's definitively top 5. I don't think that's in question.
I think, and this is just me, if Ohio State wins the national championship Monday night, nobody's going to care about that loss to Michigan. Ohio State will have followed up. Stop texting me during the show.
Bro,
people are texting me that it doesn't matter what happens on Monday night. A buddy of mine is texting me now. Nobody will care about a national championship because you lost to Michigan. The perfect season died that day.
Stop.
Okay, that's a little strong.
Here, let me play the music for you. Oh my God. We lost to Michigan. The perfect season's, just not possible. Screw natties.
You did it better.
We want Michigan. Okay.
You did it better, cleaner, and with more respect than Michigan did. Michigan's championship will forever be tainted. Let's just get this straight right now. When Ohio State beats Notre Dame on Monday night and wins the national championship, nobody's going to care about that loss to Michigan. Nobody will be like, oh, asterisk. The loss to Michigan means nothing when you win the national championship. And you win it clean, and you win it by beating 4 of the best teams in the country. It's the stuff of legends. There's no tainting this. There's no cheating scandal. There's no sign stealer guy.
Yeah.
There's no BS. This is how you win a national championship in the modern era of college football. And you don't have to like it, but it is what it is.
Sign stealer guy.
Right? Like, it is what it is. And I'm tired of, again, I sound like a Notre or an Ohio State fan. I'm not. But I'm tired of knocking down the legendary runs that people like Nick Saban had because you don't like Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm tired of knocking down. Ryan Day pisses me off on a lot of fronts.
I think he pisses most people off on a lot of fronts.
But if he wins a national championship, just start designing the statue now. Right? Because you're not pedo state. You're not Jim Harbaugh sign stealer guy.
Yeah.
Ryan Day hasn't had the Urban Meyer scandals. He hasn't had free tattoos. Like, you did it better than everybody else, and you need to embrace that. And again, it's what Mike Smith always hates when I say, you don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it, because I think that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to win a national championship on Monday night.
Got to be America's team.
And thank you, Jimmy. Unless there is some crazy, unless Riley Leonard, who his mom even says he sucks. If Riley Leonard somehow lights our world on fire and we win a national championship, I don't even know that I'll show up on Tuesday. I don't think I'll show up on Tuesday. If Notre Dame wins, I can die a happy man.
Right.
I don't see it happening. Listen, I'm a Chicago sports fan.
Anita Dick and me.
Yeah.
I don't have
again and again.
Ben Johnson wants the Raider job.
Johnson.
Ben Johnson wants the Raider job, not the Bears job. I don't have nice things.
I don't really get it.
right? I'm not allowed to be happy. Notre Dame's not winning the national championship. But make no mistake about it. Tuesday morning, when we're sitting here talking about Ohio State as national champions, they did it bigger, better than anybody else in the modern era of college football.
Stay hard.
Period. End of no but Monties, no but Monties. And I'm tired of this. Well, I like Notre Dame because they went to Duke and got a quarterback. And, well, okay. What did that get you? What did that get you? And I would point out to you, you're only pissed, Baldy, because they took two of the best players out of the SEC. Notice you're not. Where are the accolades? If Notre Dame went to Duke, where is Ohio State going to K-State and taking the guy that K-State fans threw out in their trash heap? And Ohio State and Chip Kelly turned him into a gold nugget in Will Howard, because K-State didn't want Will Howard.
Mm-hmm.
How come we're not talking about how, hey, you took the best quarterback in the Big 12 and put him on Ohio State, and all of a sudden they won?
That's why we have fine moms.
Okay, I don't feel better.
Wagons.
I don't feel better.
It's just such an asinine take, dude.
It is.
It really is that, like, and I'm not naive to the fact. Again, Paul Feinbaum is paid to do a job, right? I get it. I respect that. I understand that as this new cute term that we're all using now, as an opinion maker, Paul is paid to do a job, and I get it. But this is too far. Saying that you like Notre Dame because of the way they went about it more than Ohio State, and then saying that the way they went about it is exactly what Ohio State did, is just dumb.
And I don't know how many Ohio State fans are here today, but here's a question my buddy Marcus wants to know. Will Ohio State fans embrace Ryan Day as a legend if they win a national championship?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Because I think...
Listen, the issue is that Ryan Day is not a cold-blooded killer as a head coach, right? So what I mean is, this year he's got it cooking, right? You did a great job in the portal, but he's not a head coach that is is a savage. And to turn into that, you're going to have to win multiple national championships over the next 10 years.
I think he will have to win another national championship for Ohio State fans. You can't lose to Michigan the way that Ryan Day has lost to Michigan and be considered a legend.
Yeah, I mean,
is Ryan Day a good head coach? Yes. There's no question about that.
I think he's he's a top 5 head coach in all of college football. There's no question about it, and it's why he still has his job. But the issue is think about how we look back on Nick Saban's career. What do you know about Nick Saban?
The guy wins. 7
national championships. Guy wins. Has the right culture.
Yeah.
Does all the right things. Rides his players about tucking their shirts in. Like all that stuff. And it's why he's on ESPN and he's living a great post-coaching career right now. I don't have to ask if Nick Saban is a legend. The winnings does it for me.
But haven't we talked about this all week with the Bears? Haven't we talked about, and it's Oak State James. And again, I don't know if Oak State James is here yet, but it's what I always say about Mike Gundy. Neat that you go to bowl games every year. I want to win a championship. It's what I've complained about with Marcus Freeman. Ohio State, at the stadium, you're at home and you only have 10 guys multiple times on the field when Ohio State is at the goal line trying to win the game. It's what I've complained about. And I've given Marcus his flowers now. Hey, he's developed. I want to win championships. I don't care about, I ultimately, if I am an Ohio State fan, I'm pissed we don't beat Michigan. And yes, I will. If Ryan Day wins a championship and he walked into the studio, I'd be like, hey man, congratulations. I'm really happy for you. What are you going to do to beat Michigan next year? Because is there anybody here who thinks Michigan didn't have one of the best recruiting cycles of anybody? Because they did. Yeah. You don't have to like it.
Well, and I think that's where the bitterness comes from this particular year, is that Michigan was not a good team this year. And everybody and their mom knows it. And you still lost to them with this roster. And I think that, well, when you ask how, I think, and this is the part where I'm like, hey, Ryan Day's not a savage right now as a head coach. that team did not have chemistry.
But shouldn't we have the bar set for people like Ohio State, Alabama,
Texas,
certainly Notre Dame, Texas, your university, whoever you are a fan of? Shouldn't the bar be championship or, good season? Colorado.
I wouldn't put them in that conversation.
But Deion's putting them in that conversation.
Yeah, but that's his job.
But the expectation should be championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a college football coach and you don't go, and this is what I said about Rhett Lashley, being so upset about losing not losing, getting throttled.
Yeah.
Championship or bust. It's what I like about Boise State. Boise State believes that they're one of the 12 best teams and they should be competing for a national champion. They're not. Somebody break the news. But they believe they should be. The problem with a guy like Marcus Freeman, and again, I'm not trying to be a red ass, whatever you want to say. I'm not trying to downgrade Marcus Freeman in any way, shape, or form. I want to win championships. Riley is not good enough. Riley Leonard is not a good enough quarterback to be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. Yet how much crap do I get from Notre Dame fans? And I'm surprised by it. Do you know how many USC fans are in my life? It's a lot. They want to fire Lincoln Riley. They want to fire Lincoln Riley, not because of this season. They wanted to fire Lincoln Riley after last season.
I want it.
And we're sitting here giving Marcus Freeman props because he's got Riley Leonard as a quarterback. Where will you be on Tuesday morning, you frauds, when Riley Leonard's one of the main reasons? Because I got news for you. Breaking news. Call me crazy. Ohio State is going to make them throw the football to win this game. Right? My point is, why are we denigrating a guy or knocking down a guy like Ryan Day, who's got the bar so high for himself? It's much higher than any booster or fan at Ohio State. Yet we're going to sit here and fine-balm this guy because he did what everybody should have done, which is got the best running back.
What everybody is trying to do.
Exactly. There you go. He got the best offensive coordinator. He got the best portal quarterback. He got the best portal running back. He got the best portal defensive back. And you know what else he did? He got them all to perform at a really high level.
Yeah.
Except the Michigan game. He got them all to perform.
Was it the flag planting?
Was Jack Sawyer really upset? Yes. All right. I don't mean to rail. Sometimes I'm really a passionate guy about where you set your bar. And if you're new to the show, and I know we have an enormous amount of new listeners on this show every day. If you're new to the show, I always talk about the Big 12. Why is the Big 12 struggling? Because the state of Texas is okay going to bowl games.
Apathy. 6
wins. Whew. Statue time. Joey McGuire went to a bowl game. Oh, my God. Lifetime.
Wow.
Lifetime con. Google me. Kirk Cignetti at Indiana.
Oh, I win. Google me.
Now, I understand. And I put James Franklin in this category, too. I understand that you had a really good season by Indiana standards. Did you have a really good season by Michigan standards? Did you have a really good season by Ohio State standards, by anybody in the SEC? Did you have a good season?
Google me.
Based on any championship aspiration of any kind at any level, when you lied to us and told us that all you do is win, and then we beat the living snot out of you at the stadium in South Bend?
Hot ass.
You weren't a very good football team. You were average across the board.
Yeah.
But my point is, I get really fired up when people try to tell me, and I'll use Oak State James because we had this very public spat on Twitter.
Epic.
And Oak State James is a guy who doesn't understand his role on this show.
And we've been through this before.
With his wife, and that she's not hot and all this other stuff. Anyway, the point is, he said
F around and find out.
He said that about his own wife.
Bro.
My point is, James and I went back and forth on Twitter, and one of the few times I ever get him, don't tweet at me because I'm not going to
Get in the comment section.
But the point is, Riley Leonard is an average-ass quarterback
Mm-hmm.
who was great at Duke, not good enough at Notre Dame. Why would and I ask you today, has Notre Dame had a good season? Yes. 13 straight games in the regular season, lost to Northern Illinois. Hey, call that your
Far as you've gotten in a long time.
right. This is as close to getting our ass kicked by a real football team as we've been since Manti Te'o's
And I'm a
girlfriend.
vampire feeding off mass disappointment.
I'm so prepared to lose this game on Monday
You're
night.
not, I don't want to. So Monday night, when it's like 41-10, I don't want there to be the disappointment factor happening.
Okay.
I want you to
First
say,
of all,
hey,
this
is
shut up. You said 41-10.
You're a homer is the first part.
And you wonder why I don't like you. You wonder why I just he walks into the studio today like,
Don't talk crap about my team.
exactly. Don't. Well, 41. Shut up.
Why don't you fuck off?
Just shut up. Well, 41-10, bro.
well, Monty.
No, Monty's. They're not giving up 41 points.
Is it possible that they could ride the D?
I was in such a good mood. I won again on Prize Picks. How'd you do on Prize Picks
Awful.
last night?
Terrible.
How did you do on
Riley
Prize Picks?
Leonard prize picks last night, dude.
Yeah?
It was awful.
Good news.
Because it's garbage.
I Caleb Downs that MFer. I'm telling you again, and I
Bro,
would
stop texting dude in the middle of the show.
It's fine. I would point out that Will Howard is a free play on Prize Picks right now for Monday night.
Yeah.
Will Howard, download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they're going to give you 50 more instantly. Here's how you win. And right now, I'm going to have like 27 wins on Monday night because I've got all these wins waiting on Will Howard to throw. He's got to complete one pass on Monday night. Last night, my beloved, and listen, again, remember I told you, I don't have happiness in my life. Well, as a Chicago Bulls fan, I have no happiness in my life. But I would like to thank Zach Levine. It's Levine. Please don't tweet at me. For going under 34.5 last night. 15 points, 6 boards, and 7 dimes. I took the under.
Mm-hmm.
We call that chicken dinner. And then the other one that I took last night was my guy, Walker Kessler,
Mm-hmm.
last night. Less than 9.5 rebounds. I took less. I'd like to thank Walker for only having 8 rebounds. Will Howard's going to win me that on Monday night.
Yeah.
So it's that simple. You play flex play, which means you only have to win 2 of 3. You make 3 selections on a flex play. You just got to win 2 of 3 and you get paid. Prize Picks, America's favorite daily fantasy app. Download the app. Use the promo code Monty.
Get her
You
done.
deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more instantly.